Now, there's something that I've often noticed seems to make us stand out, but I'd like to know how it makes us specifically different, and that's the control code manual.
Yeah, I'm glad that you've asked that. I think just to put it into layman's terms, 99% of our clients, especially for example, let's take the fintech clients in London. They start with us, they see that we've got a great team, we've got the great research capacity, we've got the great consistency in terms of standards, industry standards. But then when they actually begin with us, they really say, okay, well, as things get busier, as the volume gets larger, the last thing that we want to do is start with a fantastic service that's really good, really high quality, really well researched, but then the style goes off, the voice goes off. Maybe you've changed my writer, and then the style has changed, the voice has changed, as it were. So this is why I think copywriting has been traditionally very, I'm your copywriter, I'm a consultant, and it can't really be a full business, because if we make it a full business, then we've got multiple writing styles. That doesn't make any sense. I would have the same writing styles. It's kept it more as like a very high quality consultant model, as it were. And that's what our fintech clients are familiar with when they start with us. They say, okay, well, we're loving the quality as we're starting here. We're really enjoying that quality, but we don't want it to go. We want it to stay the same as we scale up. As we go from a personal pro to a business pro, we want the same quality to remain. So we've always really made sure that that's the case anyway. For example, all of our clients have the same writer with their account, as long as we can keep them there. And even if we can't keep them there, we'll let them know, and we'll add another writer, and then we'll try lots of details there. But even with all the measures there to make that style, that quality the same writing style, that same consistency of brand, we've added a new layer to it, and that's called the control code manual system. Now, that's actually linked, the control code manual is actually linked to a training video that is 25 hours long. Okay, all of our writers and researchers to go through the same training. Now, obviously, the training, of course, goes through all the industry standards, builds on, frankly, the expertise and quality of the backgrounds of the people that work with us, but we go many steps further. Now, let's just say, imagine. Okay, think Adam. I mean, I like Star Wars.
It's a good film franchise.
It's a good film. Let's be honest about it. Now, one of the scenes this gave me the idea. Basically, I was in New York. I was just having a laugh, watching this film, Star Wars. That scene where Palpatine or something says to one of the clones, execute code 667 or something. Probably the wrong
66, code 66.
66, right, I'll get that. Got that wrong there. But basically the idea is that type of Star Trek, Star Wars future is where, training is so systematized, so detailed that you can give an employee or a clone a code, and they'll know exactly what to do. They'll know exactly what command that refers to, what action they need to take, and it's all. And obviously, that's a bit exaggerated, a little bit demeaning as well to those clones. Obviously, not trying to inspire from that, but I think the efficiency remains. I think any highly creative activity that you could say. Work with and then give a command code that's 6 digits long, that's a more efficient process than spending 20 minutes talking about the weather and then maybe slipping that comment in, could you please change that paragraph to that? So we need objectivity, and as the bigger our clients get, the more that's in demand, basically. So
it's this way of simplifying it, isn't it? Like
exactly,
you can say do X and Y, and they'll do it.
Exactly. Yeah. So what happened is, for about a year, so we were training our internal writers in a very similar fashion to really guarantee that, okay, we've got a fintech client, they need to be in Samuel the Scientist mode, or layman terms Terry modes. We had kind of internal acronyms for writing voices, modes as it were, for the different projects, and that maintained consistency even without the client asking for it. They would get that pinpoint accuracy first time. So we stuck around with that for about a year. But then what we thought, okay, we've got this 25 hours of video. Now we have live sessions where the customer can actually interact with his or her writer effectively, would it be possible to provide some sort of a set of coded commands for the customer that they could give to their writer, their personal writer, again, alongside all of that really in-depth, creative, personal experience? Think of that barista at Starbucks, that fantastically personal experience, but then you've got the consistency, you've got the video training that's really enabled that almost kind of cyborg approach to training. And again, it's a bit of a funny thing to think about, because we're dealing with very, very talented human beings, but we just want to make that talent run even faster, don't we? We want to make that talent amplified. We want to make it bigger. We want to make it more consistent, and most importantly, not to avoid any mistakes. So I think that's the first reason. But basically, the control code manual, and it's delivered to every single customer in the post in their client welcome pack. Any customer can try this. They can work with the writer and give up to 100 coded commands. And these commands, what they do is they're shortcuts. So they enable you to be working with a very long form file, like a very long bid proposal white paper. Instead of commenting, spending say 4 hours commenting on every single detail, you can simply initiate very complex combinations too of style changes by actually speaking to your writer in their training language. It's really direct access to that in-depth training. So formula structures, incentive structures, style, the writing style, voice personalities. We've got 7 of them at the moment. These codes just get straight to that, so you can just kind of talk to your writer a little bit like a robot with all the human stuff around it as well. So it's just for that added efficiency, for those very busy fintech. I'm thinking of the fintech clients that we work with, even some of the big recruitment companies that we've had the honour to serve quite recently. They're busy. They need shortcuts. They need that kind of robot-like experience where it's just vastly more efficient than any in-house writer could ever be, because they're communicating the same instructions basically within 20 minutes that would take 4 hours to do with an in-house writer. If that makes sense, hopefully that makes sense, but I think it makes even more sense once you actually look at the manual physically in print delivered.
It's a way of systematizing that.
I think the best analogy I use is, whenever I go to New York on business, for example, and I'm saying, okay, I'm no rush here, I've got a plane to catch. Where can I find a coffee that I know 100% of the time is going to be fast, consistent, and of good quality? Now, how do you define good quality? Quality is subjective. The only thing that is left, as it were, when you're comparing different providers is consistency. What remains there? What's consistent every single time that I can know that will be there? So when I go to Starbucks, we all have friends that knock it. I've got friends that say, I hate Starbucks. But then the reason they're so big in the first place is because they're attracting so many of these, quote, reluctant moaning customers that end up buying Starbucks anyway, because it's so damn consistent. I think that's what I'd say. So I think that's the analogy that we take. I mean, we deliver on that kind of, call it that craft local coffee with a craft local coffee shop, but then we really Starbucksify it, as it were, in that systematization for scale, if that makes sense. So we really do take that combination, as you say, Adam, between creative experience. Yes, let's excel, let's maintain what needs to be creative and personal, but let's really systematize that training. So yes, you have that creative white paper and blog articles, but they're done lightning fast, 24 hours in the case of all of our documents if needed. So hopefully that answers your question.
That clears it up very nicely, I think. Yeah.